Live from the Evolve Academy studios in Las Vegas, Nevada, Barco and the Evolve Academy are proud to bring you the latest features and highlights of Barco's EventMaster 5.1 release. Now, here are your hosts, Vince Ayala and Tim Cashel.
Hi, it's Tim Cashel from the Evolve Academy.
And Vincent Ayala with Barco Inc.
Hey, how you doing this morning? So today we're going to cover the features of Barco's 5.1 EventMaster release. And there's a lot of new stuff in this release. There's a lot of real good features that are major stuff that's going to be improving the EventMaster system.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're
So
very excited.
Yeah, one of the first things we want to show you is this thing called super destinations and super layers.
Yeah.
Right? So first of all, can you kind of define how the super destination is different than, let's say, an advanced canvas with different outputs?
Sure. So traditionally we've been dealing with local destinations and singular outputs. When we create a destination, we add outputs to it. It creates a canvas size. That canvas size is an adjustable, and you can map those outputs over that canvas size. Mm-hmm. Well, super destinations are very similar, where you create a super destination, you add local destinations to it, and then you can map that canvas out. But it doesn't utilize the canvas space the way the original destination did.
So what would be some of the applications for the super destination? Why would you use that?
Well, you would use a super destination, say in large scale LED walls, mm-hmm. large scale LCD walls, pretty much anything where you need to get over 40 or so megapixels, when you can link 3 boxes and get 60, 80, 120, and so on and so forth.
Okay, so let's go to a demo of setting up a super destination.
All right, so we're going to take a look at our GUI here. We're going to be working in the sim for the first part here, just to kind of quickly guide you through how to set up a super dest or super destination. So we're going to start off with adding a couple of inputs to use, just random inputs. And we're going to go to our destinations. We're going to add 3 local destinations, or 3 screen destinations. And you'll see they pop up here, screen destination 1, 2, and 3. We're going to add a couple of layers, or a layer, to each one of those.
So pretty much the standard stuff you've done to this point.
Pretty simple, nothing new. But now we're going to go back to the destination tab, and we're going to click add super destination. What that's going to do is that's going to create this little yellow box indicating it's a super destination. Then we're going to drag our local screen destinations to it, and you'll see that they turn blue, indicating they are part of a super destination.
Now, can those destinations still be used as their individual local destinations? Nothing like the way that you traditionally use them?
Oh, totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Individual destinations as well as a part of that master super destination canvas.
Okay.
So I'm going to go into my super destination, and I'm going to add what we call a super layer. Now, that super layer can be stretched across those single screen destinations or across the super destination. And I'll kind of dive into that. I'll show you an example of that when we get to the programming page. But I'm going to add this super layer. Now what you'll see is every screen destination went from 1 layer to 2 layers, because that super layer basically eats up 1 layer from each one of those destinations, allows you to plaster that 1 layer across all of those destinations synchronously.
So you're using 3 layers for the individual destinations,
mm-hmm.
and then you've got the super destination, which is adding 3 more layers to
Correct.
create a super layer.
Yeah.
So you're using, at this point, you've used up 6 of your layer resources.
That's correct, yeah, absolutely. So let's hit this little drop down to show you that the Z order pops up in the fact that it adds that super layer on top of all of your other local layers if it's added second. If you want it to be below all of your local layers, then you would add it first.
Okay. So there's an order of operation to when you put the super layer versus local layers.
Well, there is and there isn't. You can add it at any time, but it's going to basically drop in on top of whatever you have built.
Can you change the Z order of a super layer in regards to local layers?
No, you cannot.
Okay.
Not now.
All right.
All right, so we've got our super layer on our super destination. Let's go into our widescreen configuration and check out our little configuration. Now previously, if we created a canvas in a local destination, here's where you would see that black box with the canvas, right? And that's, you know, that was malleable. But instead this time you're going to be able to just kind of move and morph the positioning of your actual destinations.
So it doesn't really matter what order you drop them in the super destination. You can come in here and rearrange them and separate them or combine them.
Exactly, exactly. And you'll notice that we can separate and combine them, right? So we don't
offset.
Yeah, we can do offsets. We can, create gaps between the destinations, maybe to compensate for set pieces, design, bezels, right? That's always a big deal. So we're just going to kind of roughly stick them together here. All right, so we'll close out of that. We've set them up in a sorry, we're not going to close out of that just yet, but we'll set them up in a 1, 2, and 3, starting from left to right. And we'll just go ahead and close that now. So you'll see my super destination is 5760 by 1080, which is the width of those three slapped together. So now we're going to go into the programming tab and take a look at kind of how that looks. So I'm a big fan of keeping my super destination on the left here with all my other screen destinations on the right. Now, what I want to do here is, for my own personal view, I want to set up my screen destinations to match the configuration of my super destination.
That makes total sense.
So I'm going to go ahead and drag my little tabs around and kind of set them up in order. So I've got screen destination 1, 2, and 3, screen destination 1, 2, and 3, in the same order that they were in my superdest. Now I want to go ahead and drag an input into a screen destination. It can go any one of the three, just like normal, right? Just like a normal screen destination. Right. And what you'll see here is that the layer drops in on the screen destination, and then it gives you a visual representation on the super destination as well.
Yeah, so on the super destination, you see that the first screen there has the layer you just dropped. Right. So what happens if you go to destination 1 and start moving that layer across the boundary?
So if you start moving it across the boundary, what happens is you get this little checkerboard raster that indicates that it's not live anymore, that it's not being displayed out of a physical output.
And that's something new in 5.1, is actually showing you the hash mark when you're off the visual area.
Yeah, totally. It's pretty sweet. Let's see. If we want to drag a layer onto our super destination, we would do it just like a normal layer, right? We'd grab an input and drop it right onto our super destination. But what this is going to do is this is going to add it as a super layer. It's going to grab the first available super layer, and
it's got a different color.
Yep, it's got a different color, and it'll display across all of our local destinations. Well, and there'll be a visual representation across all of our local destinations. Now, what you want to be careful of is that you cannot grab a super layer in a local destination. So if I'm clicking here and trying to drag it around, you're not going to be able to move it.
You have to do that from the super destination window.
Exactly, right. Exactly. And there's another feature, and I want to curveball in here and discuss that we didn't before, is Aoi Markers.
Ah, yes. So
we can turn on Aoi Markers, and we'll see our actual Aoi on our super destination there. So we can,
so we can see where one screen ends and the next one begins.
Exactly. We can line up, and then, we can dial in and use our actual justification buttons according to those Aoi markers.
Yeah, the Aoi markers are very helpful, because previously the only place to see that was the multi-viewer.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. All right.
Speaking of which, how does the super destination look like on a multi-viewer?
On a single box setup, the multi-viewer is actually pretty simple. You can emulate it to sort of look like your super destination. By that I mean there's no actual super destination.
Program in preview, it's all the combination of your regular program previews.
Exactly. So you're going to want to line those up just like you would any normal, traditional destination. So we'll line those up. like you would your normal destinations, and you can kind of emulate your super destination from
Right,
there.
so just lay it out the same way that you've got it.
That's the theory.
Okay. All right, so that's super destinations and super layers, at least an example on a single box. So that covers that. Next, we're going to go to the TCI TCO cards. So in this little EX in front of us, we've got one of each. We've got a TCI card and a TCO card. The TCI card was released back in October.
Yep.
So that's been shipping for a while. The TCO card is shipping
Now-ish.
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 So you can place your orders for them now.
Yeah, totally.
And they should come sometime soon. Anyway, let's look at the specs for the TCI card. So the tri-combo input card has a single cable support for 4K at 60 with the DisplayPort 1.2 input as well as an HDMI 2.0 input.
They also have a max resolution of 4096 horizontal or 2400 vertical at 60.
So explain that a little more as to what that means.
So, you know, we could do the normal 4096 by 2160 at 60, you know, over a single cable, but we also have the ability to increase the vertical by reducing the actual horizontal.
So you can get 2400 vertical as long as you shorten the horizontal.
Exactly. You're basically trying to shoehorn it in that 600 megahertz cable limitation.
Okay. Also new to the both the tri-combo input and output is the 12 G Sdi connectors, which now gives you 4K over a single SDI cable. This supports as well the legacy quad 3G SDI, so if you want to do 4 cables for 4K. And also, the big one here is it also supports the 2SI standard for quad 4K. And what's the big advantage to doing 2SI?
The big advantage to doing 2SI, besides not having to, you know, maintain order, is reduced latency. So when you do quad 3G, you know, where you have the 4 quadrants, it actually adds about a frame to a frame and a half worth of latency on the in as well as the out. Doesn't do that anymore for 2SI.
Yeah, and the other plus to 2SI is not only is it the 4 quads that gets transmitted, but if you look at one of those single feeds on a monitor, you get the full image in 3G.
Exactly.
On each feed, if your gear supports 2SI. And of course, still not hot swappable. So looking at the tri-combo output card, very similar specs. It's just the same thing except going the other way, going out. So again, single cable support, DisplayPort 1.2, HDMI, same resolution restrictions, the 12G connectors, but now supports output rotation.
Yeah, cool thing we started back with the DisplayPort 1.2 card, you know, way back last year was output rotation. We could rotate outputs in 90, 180, and 270 degrees.
And this is only with the Generation 2 cards, right?
Only with the Generation 2
So it'll be the
cards.
DisplayPort 1.2 card and then tri-combo output card this year.
And any cards that may come later this year or maybe next year.
So basically anything from this point forward.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, and again, still not hot swappable. Okay, so that's a look at that. So if we go back to the 2-shot here, that's a pretty interesting concept. You've got a tri-combo input card that does 4K in. You got a tri-combo output card that does 4K out.
Yeah.
Both of those in the same box. That sounds like a
So if we,
interesting product,
if we like got rid of the links and maybe put a front panel on it.
Yeah, that'd be
it
kind of
might
cool.
be-
It'd be kind of a cool little product
Might
there.
be interesting. Something to think about.
Something to think about,
Yeah, something to
people.
think
So
about.
we'll look at that later. Next, we're going to look at the EX expansion and what that enables now and what it did in the past. So what we have here is the S3 with EX. The EX contains 2 VPU cards.
Yep.
So what this is doing is basically doubling the layer capacity or layer resources of an S3. And this came out in 5.0, so this is really not anything real new. But what is new is the capability that it adds to the E2. So for the E2 in 5.1, you have the ability to add up to 2 EXs, both populated with the VPU cards, and you can add an additional 16 layers.
Yeah, totally. Basically, it creates another bank worth of processing. So in an E2, you have bank A with 8 mixed layers, bank B with 8 mixed layers, and bank C with 8 mixed layers. Or now you'll have bank C with 8 mixed layers.
Okay, that's great. And the VPU cards, we say S3 VPUs because they're already mounted on the proper chassis, but you can take a VPU from an E2 and with a kit you can mount it on that chassis and insert it into an EX.
Correct. It's like a little sled. You know,
Right.
it just slides right in the back of the S3 or VP or EX.
Yeah. So I noticed you got a Mac sitting here on the table, and I know that you've got the configuration controlling this on there.
Yeah.
I know there's something new for Macs, for the
Yeah,
Mac people,
let's
right?
talk about it, yeah.
Yeah. So what's new there?
So if we take a look at this this Mac input here, we'll see that we're controlling our normal S3. We have a S3 and an EX setup, but we're going to minimize this. Basically what we've done is introduced a Mac simulator. Woohoo! So to access that Mac simulator, you would go to the EM 5.1 folder that's in your applications. You go to WVP_sim and launch your simulator.
So just like on the PC side, you've got your terminal window opens up. What are you waiting for?
Signal VP up and running.
There you go.
Right.
And
So-
is this a special bundle that they have to download from a separate location, or is it included in the main download?
It's included in the main Mac download, or if you download the Super Bundle, it'll
It'll be part of it.
yeah, it'd be part of all that. So
Okay.
just like the when you download Event Master for Windows PC, it downloads the simulator. Same thing for the Mac.
Great.
So we'll go back to Event Master, and here we are. there's our simulator. Add new system, drop in our sim, and we're off.
And there we go. Mac people can now simulate E2s and other things.
Yeah.
Obviously.
S3s, EXs, whatever you want. Right?
Okay, great. So finally, the big ticket item that we've got with this release is this configuration right here, the linking beyond two boxes.
Yeah.
All right. So, so obviously you link using the CXP cables. Go ahead and talk about that. Is there a certain pattern you have to do, or is there like a procedure?
Yeah. So when you do a +2 box linking, or 3 boxes up to 6, 7, 8, however many you want to link, basically you want to observe what we call the racetrack configuration. So that's out of 1 into 2, out of 2 into 3, and then back up to the original number 1.
So however many it is, you loop until the last box goes back to the first box.
Always want to make sure that there's a closed loop, last box back to the first box.
And of
So
course,
you
you'll
can see
notice
that right here.
that is the
Okay.
standard link cable that does come with the E2s. And if you do go beyond 3 boxes, you'll notice that that CXP cable just barely makes 3.
Right.
So if you are going to do larger configurations, you will have to probably invest in some longer CXP cables.
Which we do sell a 5-meter version of this, or you could pick up a longer version or fiber kit or whatever you want from your
Yeah.
retailer.
As far as IP configuration and IDs, same kind of thing.
Yeah, same concept. You want to make sure that each IP address is different, as well as their unit IDs. You want to make sure they're different. When you assign them inside of the GUI, you'll add them as slaves, just like you would normally. And nothing new. You can run genlock to the master. You don't have to run it to the others, and everything is synchronous beyond that.
Okay. Hey, now that we've got a multi-stack system, let's talk about super destinations again and how it applies to a multi-box configuration.
Okay. So we'll head back over to the sim. We'll head back over to the computer here and take a look at the configuration. There is one thing we want to drive home as we switch over to our 3-box system here. I think we're showing the wrong. There we are. There is one thing we really want to touch on with the 3-box system here, and that is, each box is capable of handling like 20 megapixels worth of canvas, roughly. So to drive it home, it's mostly for LED, mostly for LCD, right? So if we take a look at our 3-box configuration, we'll take a look at our system view, and you'll see that link pattern that I talked about, out of one into the next, out of that one into the next one, and then back up to the first.
And you have to do for both link sides.
Both link sides, absolutely. All right, so let's take a look at our detail view. All right, so with 3-box linking, we're introducing a new feature called global inputs.
I noticed there's 96 physical inputs on this box.
Right.
How many of those can you share?
48. You can do 48 single link, 24 dual link, or 12 4K that can be shared across all 3 of those boxes and their destinations.
Of course, those can be mix and match as far as capacities.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Mix and match. You basically have, we say you have 48 links.
Right.
We're not saying connectors or, dual link or single link or 4K. So you have 48 links that you can share. Now what that means is I can take, with one of these global inputs, I could take in, bring it in on input number, input number 1, box 1, and utilize it on maybe box 3's canvas spaces, because again, these canvas spaces are separate. They're not blendable, they're not overlappable, they're separate portions, so you can do separate screen destinations. So I'll go ahead and give you a quick example of how to create a global input. First, I'm going to start with a little bit of contrast here, and I'm going to add a single local input to box number 1, and you'll see that there's this new checkbox. Now, this new checkbox and this available global links only shows up if you have 3 or more boxes connected. So I'm going to start then I'm going to go ahead and roll over and do another single input. I'm going to select that one, and I can either select it here to add it to my global list, and you see the check mark right here, the check mark enabled, and then the available global links reduced by 1. Or I could have gone into my contextual adjust tab and also selected it here. Again, these are not going to show up unless you're doing 3 or more boxes.
Okay. And it shows you a little count to show you how many links you have left.
Exactly, exactly. All right, so we've got a couple of inputs. Now, let's move on and create a couple of local destinations on each box. So we'll just add screen destination. Nothing new here, right? Same kind of simple concept.
Now you're doing a destination on each box.
Right.
Right, so now we're going to create the super destination, right?
Well, first I want to add a couple of layers to those, sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry. So I want to add a layer to each one of them.
Don't forget to add your layers.
All right, now I want to deselect that and add a super destination. Just like we did back in the first demo, real simple stuff. We'll just hit add super destination, a yellow one will pop up, and we can drag them in. Destination 1, 3, and 2, and those will pop up blue. Zoom in a little bit, so you can see that they all have a layer, they're all blue, they're all ready to rock and roll. We're going to go into our super destination. We want to assign a super layer to that. Watch what happens to those single destinations. They add a layer. It adds as layer 2. Again, be careful with your adding of your super layers. You have to, you definitely want to figure out where you want them in your Z order.
Right, if that's something that's going to stretch across all 3 and has to be in the background, you want to create it first.
Exactly, right. Perfect. All right, so let's take a look at the wide button for that. We'll go into our little exploded view. And I want to set it up so it's kind of a 1, 2, 3 from left to right. All right, perfect. Check out our assign button again. Make sure we're all nice and dialed here. Yeah, I think we're ready to move on. So we'll go ahead and go into our programming page. Now from here, I would want to set them up again in my tabs here. So I'll do super destination on the left, screen destination 1, 2, and 3. All right, so let's start off by just dragging dragging a input into a destination. Now, what you'll see when I drag this input in, input 1, if you remember, was a local input onto box number 1.
Right.
So it's available on screen destination 1, but watch what happens when I go into screen destination 2 and 3.
It won't let you drop it because
Exactly.
it's not local to that destination.
Right, and it's inputs that are not marked as global input cannot be used in a screen aux or destination that is not in the same VP.
That is a long error message.
Totally. So we'll drop it in just like normal. And again, you can see a visual representation on the super destination. If you drag it off screen or over, it gives you that checkerboard raster.
Just as before, yeah.
Yep, same stuff. So now let's take a global input and we can drop it on that same destination or any other destination.
Including the super destination.
Including the super destination. Now what that does is, just like if you were to drag a local, just like if you were to drag any other input into a super destination, it's going to grab the first available layer, or in this case, the only available super layer, and assign it, and you'll see what happens. It turns that gray again, as an indication that it is a super layer. It's viewable on all of your other canvases, but not adjustable, right? If we go to adjust it, it's not going to move. So here it is available.
Okay, so the big question is multi-viewer.
Multi-viewer. Good point. So, to kind of step backwards just a little bit, if we add a local input or even a global input, it's only going to be viewable on that box that you added it, right? So if we take a look at our configuration real quick, we have both inputs coming in on box 1. So now, basically, both of those inputs are going to be available on box 1 and not available on box 2 or 3.
Box 2 or 3 is multi-viewers.
Box 2 or 3 is multi-viewers.
Right.
Thank you for the correction. So if we drag that, we can drag those in, and the destinations work similar to that as well. Just like the original linking scheme, if a destination was processed on, say, box 1 or box 2, it was only shown in that respective box, right? So if it was created in 1, it's only going to show in 1. If it's created in 2, it's only going to show in 2. So we'll take a look at what that looks like here. So you'll see master E2, our top one, that portion of the super destination is going to be shown here.
And screens 2 and 3 are grayed out.
Exactly. So if we went into slave E2 number 1, you'll see destination 2 is available there.
So I think the big takeaway right now is, at the moment, you cannot recreate your super destination on one single multi-viewer if the destinations are on separate boxes.
That's correct. That's
the
correct.
best way to clarify that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have put it better myself.
Okay.
Absolutely. So you'll see it pop up, Try to do my own thing here. So if we take a look at our multi-view, you can see just those little portions of canvas. You can see that.
You see that pip spread across the 3
Yep.
different outputs.
Exactly.
Okay. So going back to your configuration real quick.
Okay.
So let's say, like in the previous linking example, or previous linking way you use the boxes, I could have 2 connectors from box 1 and 2 connectors from box 2 be part of the same 4-screen output. Can we do that now when we go to plus 2 box linking?
No, each individual box is kind of treated as its own portion of canvas, treated as its own outputs, and sort of treated as its own inputs-ish.
So, but the good news is, if I have 8 outputs on box 1 as one destination, 8 outputs on box 2 as another destination, and again, 8 outputs on box 3 as a destination, I can combine all of that into one super destination.
Totally, that's exactly right.
So that's kind of how the way you get around not being able to split connectors.
Right.
Or
technically, if you're working at LED wall, you're not even going to really see a difference in the setup if you're working in your super destination, super layer configuration. It'll just all kind of appear as one master super destination, right?
Right.
But if you're...
Yeah, so again, this is another thing to bring up. What about having a rotated destination?
I'm glad you brought that up. So, how about I just give us a quick example of that?
Let's go ahead.
Right,
Let's do it live.
Let's do it live. So, I'm going to go back into my screen destinations, and I want to choose, let's say, my HDMI on my tri-combo output card.
The brand new
Brand new.
tri-combo output card.
That's right. Shipped now-ish.
Shipping now-ish.
So we'll hit Add Screen Destination. That'll bring up a normal destination. Go into my Contextual Adjust tab. I'll rotate it 270 degrees, and then add a single layer to it. All right. So watch what happens when I drag this screen destination back into my super destination. Say I want to add it to my total canvas. We get this little warning that pops up. It says, adding a new screen destination will delete all super layer assignments from this super destination.
Okay.
So the minute you add a new destination to your super dest, it's going to wipe your super layers from that super dest, and you're going to have to reassign them.
So not to be done during show.
Not to be done during show.
Okay. Unless
So
you don't like your job, then go right ahead.
So we'll go ahead and crack open our super destination here, and we're going to reassign a super layer. And that's going to do just like it did before and add on top of all of our other layers. If we wanted it to be below, we would have to go back, delete all of our other layers, add our super layer, and then reassign our single layers.
On the local destinations.
Local layers on our local destinations.
Right.
That's correct. So we're going to assign one super layer. Now let's step into our wide configuration and take a look at that. So you'll see it adds right to the end of it, just like normal. Well, let's say we're going to move that screen destination 3 over just a little bit, and we're going to drop in our screen destination 4. Maybe it's a giant LED wall set piece. We want to set up right there. Right?
And again, you could leave gaps if you wanted to,
Yeah.
if you have spaces.
I'm going to do that, actually. Let's go ahead and leave a couple of gaps in here and see. Nothing too completely scientific. We're just going to...
But at least this is nice that you could combine portrait and landscape destinations in one super destination.
Absolutely. And you can gap them and spread them without the waste of all the pixel space like you can in a traditional destination with odd outputs.
Yeah,
right?
advanced mode and outputs. Yeah.
Right. So let's go back to our programming, make sure we've got layers, we're good to go. Let's go into programming. And I'm going to reassign my tabs here just so they look similar to the way my super destination works. So
Why wouldn't you, right?
Right. Yeah. So do screen destination, super destination on the left, screen dest on the 4. What was it? So let's see, screen destination 1, then 4, 2, and 3 respectively, right?
So now your singles look just like your super.
Exactly. And I'm going to take a global input and drop it in on each one of these, and you can see it act just like another. Drag in a super layer across all of those. You'll see it kind of pop in, right? Say maybe I want to zoom this one out so it looks a little bit more accurate.
Okay.
Right. There we have it.
Yeah, so the key is here when you go into +2 box linking, super destinations and super layers become kind of your main go-to configuration mode, right?
Pretty
That's
much.
kind of what that's designed for.
Again, assembling large-scale LED, large-scale LCD on a single super desk. Yep.
Okay. So that's a lot of features for 5.1, and hopefully we've given you a taste of at least some of the main highlights of 5.1. If you have any more questions or you'd like to get a training class, you can go to Barco's website, barco.com/training, and sign up for the specialist course. They still have the advanced engineering course, Todd and Rancho Cordova, which they definitely will cover all this new linking stuff.
Yep.
Other than that, Vince, anything else to add?
No, just, I want to reiterate, come see us at Barco University, or come check out, Tim at Evolve Academy, right?
All right. Well, thank you for watching. We hope it was informative, and have a great rest of the day.
Thanks. Take care.